Hello friends and welcome to episode 3 of Make Money While You Sleep. In this awesome episode, we are going to be talking about assets versus liabilities and how you need to understand what they really mean. Before we go any further in this video, I do just want to give a quick shout out to the awesome country that is New Zealand, specifically Queenstown. In the holiday that we did there last year, I picked up this awesome little Kiwi Guy t-shirt. For any of you that like Family Guy, for any of you that like Kiwi birds, they're just so cute. I just love them. I'm actually obsessed. Or for any of you that even just like the color dark green or just New Zealand or traveling in general, please make sure that you hit the like button just so that this content can be seen by more people worldwide. I am trying to grow the channel, so I would really appreciate that. If you are new here, welcome. What's up? My name is Earl here at Earl's Yard. Do subscribe to the channel if you can. And if you enjoyed the content today, do make sure you hit the notification bell before proceeding with the video. Quick side note guys, really important to remember, I am not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about assets versus liabilities, what the differences are, some real world examples, and some mindsets of some people that are probably more likely to be more financially healthy going forward into their future, and some examples or an example of people that are less likely to be fortunate with their financial health going into the future. One more quick shout out before we do commence. I want to give that shout out to Robert Kiyosaki. If you haven't heard of him before, go look him up on YouTube. He's an awesome gentleman. He's basically created the business Financial Education, and he has the famous books Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and there are a number of books between him and his wife that he and his wife have created over time. I highly recommend you do check them out. There will be some links to some of his books and some of his audio books in the description below should you wish to check them out. There are probably a lot of you out there who think you know what assets are, or you think you know what your liabilities are, but I bet you there are going to be a majority of you out there who don't even know. I certainly was not aware until I finished reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant 3 years ago. When we talk about an asset specifically, the simple way that you want to think about an asset is, does it or does it not put money in your pocket? If the asset puts money in your pocket, it is technically an asset. A good traditional example of an asset could be a situation where you have purchased a house in a modest location for a fair price. Now over time, you're going to get the increased value of that property and land, so the area where you have bought the house in, no matter what country you're in. And let's just say you've also found some lovely people to rent the house out, okay? So they're essentially paying off your mortgage, and if you're charging the right amount, you may even be able to take a little bit of extra profits off the top to pay for things like maintenance costs from year to year. Now, essentially, that would be putting money in your pocket. You've got a nice little tenant in there paying off the mortgage, they're putting money in your pocket, in your bank account each and every month, and you're not having to work directly, slaving over some 9-to-5 job to pay off that mortgage. Another example of an asset could be if you invested in a particular stock at the right time. So a good example that I will say could be the time of the 2008 recession. There were many people that invested in stocks in that time, particularly dividend stocks that would pay out a dividend every year. So essentially that stock has gone up in value over time, plus they are getting the yearly dividend payment straight into their pocket, straight into their bank account. That is a second example of what you could technically class as an asset. Now that we've spoken about assets, let's take two simple examples of liabilities. One of the most common liabilities I see, particularly around young people, but still people of all ages as well, is buying that fresh new car that is well outside of the budget. If you didn't know already, when you do buy a new car, it tends to lose a high percentage of its value as soon as you drive it out of that car dealership, assuming it's brand new, of course. Unfortunately, I've seen it far too often where when I was growing up, we were turning 18, getting our licenses, getting our first real job, starting to make a little bit of an income. And then what did a lot of us do? We went out and got a loan for a fancy new car with a high interest rate. And then we soon discovered, well, the fancy car that we bought to try and impress the people that we didn't really actually ever end up liking in the first place, has actually ended costing us a lot more money than we originally anticipated. You buy the car that's overvalued, you drive it away from the factory. The car loses value straight away. So let's say you might purchase a $50,000 car. As soon as you drive it out of the factory, that could possibly bring the worth down to around $35,000 to $40,000. You've already lost $10,000 to $15,000 there. And then on top of that, unless you've actually afforded to pay for the car outright, you've more than likely had to take out a longer term loan and pay it back with a high interest rate. And whilst you're still working, so you're working your 9-to-5 job, you got this fancy piece of metal, okay? But what's happening every month? What's happening every year? It's taking money out from your pocket. Your car doesn't earn you money. Well, in most cases anyway, unless you're like a race car driver or something, then it probably does earn you money. But for most people, they buy a car to impress their friends or family, and then when it comes to pay time, they're actually realizing, well, where's all my money going? I'm paying back this overly priced, expensive car. If you're Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk and you really just want to buy that fancy car and you can buy it outright, go for it. I'm not saying it's wrong to buy a car. What I'm saying to you is, if your goal is passive income, if your goal is financial freedom, if your goal is to make money while you sleep, do not invest in a fancy car. Do not get a loan out for a fancy car that you have to work hard for to pay back. It's a liability. Hop on Facebook Marketplace, save 70 to 80 US dollars, grab yourself a push bike, right? You can use that. It's better for you, okay? It's a heck of a lot cheaper, right? It's great exercise, okay? And it's not costing you any money. Think about a car. On top of that, you've also got car insurance you've got to pay. You've got to pay registration. Oh, it's absolutely mad. The list just goes on and on and on. Of course, some of us do need cars to survive. We need to drive to work. We need to pick up the kids from school, and that's fine. But just get something that does the job. You don't need to spend $20,000 to $30,000 on a car. You can get a good car from upwards of $1,000 to $2,000, and it's going to do the job just fine. Live within your means. The second liability that I'm going to be talking to you about is a house. Oh, but hold on a second. Earl, didn't you say that owning a house was an asset? Yes, I did. However, it depends on how you manage that house, okay? If you are able to borrow money from the bank or from a mortgage lender for a mansion, all right, but you're earning a salary that maybe is not adequate enough to pay off that mansion, say before the time you die, or just in a reasonable time frame at all, maybe it's not a sensible decision. Now, trust me, I get it. Okay, Earl, but then where are we gonna live? I don't wanna pay someone else's rent, and I might as well just have a place. Sure. You get the place, but do it within your means. Do it within your means. You can get something modest with the intention of perhaps selling or renting out in the future, all right? Don't borrow an excessive amount of money and get some crazy mansion, all right, that is going to basically ground you down. I see it so many times. First home buyers, they overstretch. They borrow more than they can afford to pay back, all right? And what happens at the end of the day, they end up refinancing their place, refinancing their house at a loss when the property market is down. No good. Fella I'm talking to on the street, he says, yeah, I got an asset, my home's an asset, my house. And I say, okay, well, let's delve a little deeper, shall we? Is it putting money in your pocket, or is it taking money out? If you fall into the category of the person that has bought the overpriced house in the overpriced area, and you're having to work 60, 70-hour weeks to pay off that mortgage each month, that's money coming out of your pocket. Plain and simple, okay? If you're the person that has bought the modest rental property and you've got a lovely couple or a lovely family renting that place out and paying off your mortgage, that is putting money in your pocket, okay? We've got the two similar situations. One makes it an asset, the other one makes it a liability. You want to be on the asset side. Stay modest. If you're going to think about getting a property, do it within your means and have a strategy. Don't be one of these people that finishes school, you get a new job, and you spend all of your money on getting a loan for a new car, and you soon follow that up by spending the rest of your money on getting a deposit on a place that's overpriced and a loan or a mortgage approval from a bank that you simply can't realistically afford to pay back. You will forever be paying back those liabilities until the day you die, and eventually possibly working yourself into depression or worse. If you had the opportunity to even go to a school in the first place, or you live in the Western world, or even if you don't, what you should really be doing is just focusing on saving as much money as you possibly can, all right, at least in the bank, and then eventually educating yourself about how and where to invest and move that money across the course of time. Live within your means and invest the rest. What does that mean? Be modest. If you do need a car to get to work, just get a car that works and doesn't break down. $1,000 to $2,000. Don't go buying some $20,000 car, okay? Or even better, ride to work. Spend a couple $100s and get some fitness in as well, okay? Don't invest in designer clothes or designer watches or just materialistic things that are super expensive that you're just gonna end up hoarding in the end, and they're not gonna retain any value, okay? Keep things basic, keep clothes basic, socks basic, shop at cheap places, okay? Don't go out for too many fancy dinners. Try and do most of your cooking from home. Live within your means and invest the rest. Learn about investing, learn where to put your money and how to make passive income. If you've enjoyed the video today and you do wish to learn more about passive income and you do want to know more about how you can make money while you sleep, make sure you check out the first 2 episodes of this short series. The first one is on the MCO Visa debit card, and the second one is about the Brave browsing software. Basically, there are 2 simple ways that you, as an average individual like me, can start earning money while you sleep. So make sure you do check out those 2 videos. I'm gonna leave them in the link, which should be popping up somewhere about now, okay? And make sure that if you are new here, do subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed the content, please do like the video, hit the notification bell to make sure you're updated when new videos of mine do come out. And most importantly, do leave a comment in the comment section below. And if there are any questions that you have, do ask me. I will answer them if I can. And if there are any other videos that you want me to create based around finance, please chuck that in there as well. If any of you are left confused after this little video here, a nice simple action step you can do is basically go to your bank statement, get a piece of paper out, or get your laptop out or your iPad and write down 2 columns. One is assets, one is liabilities. Write down all your outgoings and liabilities in one column and write down all your assets, money coming in another column. You're more than likely gonna have a high amount of outgoings or a high amount of liabilities versus assets, which is completely normal. But through time, we want to try and reduce the amount of liabilities and increase the number of assets in that table. So go check your bank account out and draw yourself up a little budget to get started. That's it for now, folks. Peace out till next time.